Hi, and welcome to the Glow Interviews. My name is Katie Oman, and I am an author, psychic, motivational speaker, and coach. The Glow Interviews is a place where we can talk to some really amazing and inspiring people who will light us up. I know that by talking with them, we will feel empowered and hopeful for a brighter tomorrow. All of the contact details for both myself and my guests will be in the contact box below, so please check that out if you would wish to contact either of us. Today's guest is Cat Plummer. She is a financial coach who empowers us to get money smart. She also has a blog called Pennywise Life Rich and runs the Money Mastery Program and the Balance Booster Power Hour. Cat is an incredibly inspiring woman who I feel many of us could benefit from working with, and I'm so happy that she's agreed to have this chat with me today. So, hi Cat, thank you for being here.
Hello, and thank you for having me. What a lovely introduction.
It's really weird to hear your bio back, right? It's always
it is, like, yeah.
So weird, pretty awesome, actually.
Yeah.
Bless you. Well, look, we have to talk about this elephant that's in the room with us. We can't get away from it. 2020 has been the craziest year in living memory. I'm sure you'll agree. A little bit. And so how have you been coping? You know, have you managed to find any blessings in this chaos that we're living in?
Yeah, it's all been, like you say, it's been so very bizarre. I suppose it all really kind of kicked off in March, didn't it?
Yeah.
And I was, ticking along and had, different bits and pieces that I was doing income wise. And so unfortunately for me at the time, I lost a stream of income because I cover and teach in primary schools, and of course they were no longer going in anymore, so I wasn't needed. And so in one way it was very difficult because, like a lot of people, a loss of income.
Yeah.
But on the flip side, it gave me a lot of time. It gave me a lot of time, and it gave me a lot of energy to sit back and think about what did I want, and more importantly, what did I need?
Yeah.
Sort of going forward. So my sort of blessing was going forward and thinking about what do I need in my life, what do I want things to look like, and also a reminder that we need to think differently about income and income streams, and about having saving buffers and things like that. So it got me thinking a lot personally, it got me thinking a lot financially, and so now that we're in a few months later, I feel like in a lot of ways it gave me a lot of mental space.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, it's not, I think that's probably the biggest blessing out of all of it, and everyone I've spoken to has said the same, that it's just like off that hamster wheel and actually getting some clarity and reflection about where you're going,
and also about where I was spending my time.
Absolutely.
And all the things that I was just in the habit of doing that weren't really serving me. And so having to take a step back and not missing some of those things, and made me think, actually, could I do without those?
Yeah, absolutely.
And so that was good. And like you say, just getting off the hamster wheel for a little bit.
Yeah, just a little bit. I mean, it is starting back up again slowly. But
I could totally feel it.
Every footsteps feel kind of tentative, I think. We kind of, it's not a kind of run again. It's kind of like, oh, I'm not sure that I should be doing this.
Yeah, absolutely.
So as I mentioned in your bio, you're a financial coach. So what led you to this work? Because I know obviously you were a teacher, you are, kind of a teacher still. So how did you make that switch?
Well, it was my own.
A big story. Just like get comfy.
Get comfy, get a cup of tea. Well, it was my own money, my own money story and my own money situation that led me to help other women in a deeper way. So I had already moved out by the time I was 18 and got my first credit card, and that just spiraled into a large amount of debt. And I remember being, I think I was 21, and my 21st birthday, I'd put this amazing holiday on a credit card and stuff. And I remember Googling, and rather than looking for a way of clearing my debt or a way of managing my debt, I was effectively looking for a get rich quick scheme or a way of making more money. And I remember Googling that, thinking, well, I just need more money. I just need more money. Which, yeah, I really didn't. And that led me to find Martin Lewis.
Yeah.
Completely randomly. And then it was like, oh, there's people in debt who are paying it off. Yeah. Well, and then I kind of read their stuff, and I had a real light bulb moment where I thought, actually, yeah, I should be doing this. And I'd also been thinking about the things that I wanted to do. And at the time I was working full time, but I wanted to go traveling. I wanted to retrain to be a teacher. And I couldn't do any of those things while I was in debt. So I really kind of knuckled down and cleared it. But it wasn't long before I had debt again, you know, and then cleared it and had debt again. And I got to the point where I started working full time in teaching. I thought, I don't want to clear debt again because it's a massive slog, you know. Whereas I know I've spent the money, but the fact that I'd already previously spent it, and now I'm kind of paying out for, you know, doing the repayments and things. So I kind of looked into what had to shift, because it wasn't that I didn't know how to clear it, it was something else. So I looked into that, and looked into a lot of mindset stuff, and started writing my own blog just as a hobby, like with sort of money tips and bits and pieces. And then I wanted to take it further and start working with people one-to-one. And then I trained as a money coach, and then in 2017 I left teaching to become a money coach.
Wow. And that, I would imagine at the time, although you were obviously passionate and, you know, you knew you were heading on the right path, it's still a big scary leap, isn't it, to let go of the safety net and kind of go for it.
Yeah, absolutely huge. And it is that whole, am I doing the right thing? But I knew deep down that it was the right thing to do. And I put everything, you know, I put kind of contingency plans in place and saved some money, and started the ball rolling before, you know, that final leap. But what's really lovely now is I look back and I've still had the opportunity to teach, because I remember at the time thinking, oh, I'm not a teacher anymore. And I've still been able to dip my toe in, you know, the pool of primary school teaching, which is still really lovely. But money coaching is really where I'm sort of at and really passionate about at the moment.
I like that, because I think a lot of people have these dreams and goals and ambitions, but are too scared to actually follow them, thinking that, you say, they have to just, you know, it's all or nothing. And that all or nothing is really scary, because if it doesn't go as you want it to go, like you don't have that backup plan. And that's what I say to people, you kind of have to do things in tandem, you know. You kind of have to do them at the same time and build up your confidence, build up your knowledge, your skills, your client base, so that you'll know when the time is right.
And I absolutely did that, and I had loads of other little bits going on, so that if it didn't quite go to plan, or, you know, didn't take off quite as I had imagined, I still had all these other bits that I was doing that were keeping me going as well. And I think I would say to people is to not be scared to have those bridge bits.
Absolutely.
People can feel like, oh, I'm becoming self-employed, I'm starting a new business, you know, all in, and you're a failure if you're still doing other bits and pieces. And it's not, because that's what helps to keep you ticking along.
Absolutely.
And, you know, and it's a safety thing as well. And there's nothing wrong with having lots of different kind of strings to your bow, really.
No, absolutely. I've got thousands.
I know, and that's it. Absolutely.
It's good, because it all adds up to helping you move forward to what you want to do, because you realise you're more skilled and qualified and got all this experience so that you can then do other things with your passion and kind of think outside the box a little bit. So I don't see it as a bad thing.
No,
I think
and
it's really good.
and I've ended up doing loads of things in the last 3 years that I were never on my radar.
Yeah.
When I thought I'm going to become a money coach, and it's been really quite an amazing journey. And I would say also be open to opportunities.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Be open to change, be open to go with the flow, try new things. If it doesn't work out, it doesn't matter. Go and try something else.
Exactly.
It's like it's a journey, isn't it? You know? Yeah. Absolutely, absolutely. So, I mean, 2020 certainly, like you say, has brought people's relationship to money into sharp focus, I think. So do you have any, I know it's kind of, there's probably loads that you could say and we could be here for hours, but in a nutshell, do you have any advice for people to start to have a better relationship with their money?
Oh, okay. I think first off is to stop seeing it as something to be scared of. And that we can control our money rather than it controlling us. And I think in the first instance, knowing the basic facts and figures of what's going on, what comes in, what goes out, and every tiny little thing that goes out. And be totally honest with yourself, because we can really underestimate how much we're actually spending. You know,
you can see the smile on my face.
But it's so true. It's the little things that add up, you know, the little tap here and the little tap there and the little click here, and it totally adds up. And it's the invisible spending that can often be the thing that knocks us off track. It's not the big bills or, you know, or the big outgoings. It's those little bits that add up. So I'd say, get really clear on where you actually are. Also start thinking about money in terms of what are your emotional triggers when it comes to money, and really kind of get to know money. And it sounds really strange, but almost get to know money as a person. Like if they were going to come and have a cup of tea with you and you were going to invite, who are they at the moment? And it gives you a really good idea of what your thought processes are around money.
Yeah, absolutely.
So whether you're scared of them, and just think about what do you want your relationship with money to look like.
Absolutely.
Just as your kind of as your starting points. And if you have got debt, you know, don't beat yourself up about it, especially like you say in 2020. You know, a lot of the charities that people go to when they're really struggling and they can't manage, they've reported a huge increase in people who are contacting them. So don't be ashamed, don't be embarrassed. The most important thing is just starting to do something about it.
Absolutely, because being embarrassed and ashamed and frightened, all it's going to do is take you further and further into the wormhole, right? And it takes longer and harder then to get out of it. So as scary as it is, facing it and taking responsibility for it is the best way. It's being mature and being an adult, you know. I was one of those people, and I know you and I have spoken before, but I was one of those people that I would go to the ATM and I'd pray. And I'd be like, oh, please, 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 please. Because I didn't know what was in there. I didn't know what was coming in, what was going out. I just lived on the nether. And so many people do that, right?
Oh, absolutely. And that's the thing, is we can often sit there and think it's just us. Oh, everyone else is brilliant with money, everyone else has got it sorted. But that's not always the case. And because we don't talk about it.
No, absolutely.
If we were more open and we had those discussions with friends and family, we would find that more people are on a similar wavelength to us than we really think.
Absolutely. I really think that money management should be taught in schools, especially as teenagers. I think to let them out into the world and not really have any understanding about tax and mortgages and debt and APR and, you know, all these things. You don't know it until you find yourself suddenly kind of thrust into the world and dealing with it in person.
It, isn't it? And that's the thing to remember. We would just, we just had to learn by trial and error, and what we think was how it all worked, because No one really said, all right, this is what you need to do, this is how a credit card works,
Yeah.
you know, this is how you use one. Yeah, you just kind of have to go, okay, well, I think that's what I do.
Yeah.
Let's have a go and see what happens. And that's really
Yeah.
what.
And try and swim. And a lot of people struggle, of course, like you say. So if you're feeling like you're, you know, struggling financially, I can guarantee you're not the only person.
Yeah,
I guarantee you there are at least 10, 20 people on your street who are also struggling financially. You are not, but we don't talk about it. This is the thing. It's a real shame attached to it.
Yeah.
Do you think women, especially as opposed to men, have a difficult relationship with money because we haven't been responsible for our own finances for that long in terms of time? So we're still learning.
I would say definitely, and I think there is a strong kind of overarching thing around the idea of women not managing money. So for a long time, if you wanted to go and get financial advice, it was always from a man in a suit.
Yes.
And it would always be full of jargon. And I've heard stories even recently, as in the last 12 months, where women have gone to see a financial advisor and they've been asked where their husband is. And we're still battling this, you know. And a lot of the you know, it's very much that whole kind of societal thing, and the messages around us are, you know, men are the breadwinners, men manage the money, men are investing, you know, these are all man things.
Yeah.
You know, and if a woman tries to find out, there's been, I mean, and now it's absolutely amazing. There are some fantastic women out there who are doing their best to, you know, demystify investing and things like that.
Yeah.
You know, and pensions, you know, women are really stuck at the moment in comparison with men in terms of pensions.
Yeah, absolutely.
But we're just not, you know, if you look at advertising, it's all geared around the man, and you know, so so I would say definitely there's been that whole kind of message thing, and even, you know, recently where women have split up with a partner and not known how to manage their money or their outgoings or anything, because they never had to do it. And I think and this is why I work with women, it's so important that women start to take control and feel empowered around their money and understand what happens with their money.
Yeah, it's a real key point. I know that I'm a single parent, and I know that it was a real big part of me becoming independent and strong and resourceful, was to learn how to manage my money. It was a real big step in that direction. If I was still ostrich mentality and living on the nether, I would be really struggling and looking after the home and the kids. And you have to get money smart at some point. And yes, it's terrifying. I mean, having to make all those phone calls and really kind of get real about it was the scariest thing I've done, but it was also one of the best things I've ever done.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's so easy to make it out to be the big scary monster, but once you do one thing and then you do another, it becomes easier, and it's never as big and scary, which is like when we said about ignoring it, the elephant in the room becomes larger and larger and larger, whereas if you just let it in and you know, and tackle it, it's, you know, baby steps. And I always say to people, it's progress, not perfection.
Yeah, absolutely.
As long as you are taking small steps, you know, forward and making some sort of progress, whether that's making a phone call or, you know, having a look at your income and your outgoings, little, you know, those little steps, they build up and they make huge progress.
Yeah, and the relief that comes with it and the sense of empowerment that comes with it. It's great because you realise once you can do that, it makes you feel like, well, what else can I do? It's like really...
Yeah, it is. It really is like that.
Absolutely, absolutely. So what do you wish that you knew when you started out your journey that you know now?
Oh, do you mean right at the beginning, or?
Well, you can take that question however you want to take it.
Okay.
People have a different take on that question. I just find it really interesting.
Okay. So when I was 18 then, I wish there had been somebody like me.
Yeah.
To learn from. Definitely, in terms of money, and being money smart. In terms of being self-employed, I think trust in your gut.
Yes.
And again, just little steps,
Mm.
you know, moving forward. And it's not about the big overnight success, huge, massive following overnight, which we can often see, and we don't quite realize that, you know, the years of hard work that are
No, there's a
behind
wonderful
things.
picture I've seen, and it's a massive iceberg.
Yeah,
And the top of the iceberg is above the water, and that's the success and the money and the
yeah,
recognition. But you don't see the massive part of the iceberg that's underneath the
yeah,
water, which is the hours and the hours of stress and your sacrifice and
yeah.
you know, all these things. All you see is the tip of the iceberg. And social media, I think, is very good
Oh,
at
yeah.
letting you see the tip of the iceberg.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I wish I'd been a bit more aware of that when I first
Yeah.
started becoming self-employed. But yeah, I just wish there'd been some sort of mentor, because you know, if I had that, then when I was clearing the debt the first time, then I wouldn't have done, you know, I wouldn't have got into it again.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and there's a real, you know, thing around, you can have all the tools, you can have the knowledge, and I had all that, but it's your mindset shift.
Yeah, it's like you say, it's
That
your emotional triggers. Whether
yeah,
everybody has their go-to, whether it's your food, alcohol,
yeah,
you know, whatever it is, and
shopping, yeah,
money and shopping is one of those things. And if
yeah,
you're having a crappy day and you go and buy yourself a nice top to make
yeah,
yourself feel better, that's fine if you can afford it,
yeah,
right?
yeah, that's
But
it,
if
isn't
you're
it?
spending money, and what drives me mad is these supermarkets and shops who reel you in with sales and discounts. So in your head, you're like, well, I'm saving money, right?
Yeah, and you're
But you're
really
still
not
spending money,
spending
right?
money. Yes, yeah,
It's so clever marketing what they do, because it's all about the saving,
yeah,
right? And my son, actually, I mean, he's 18, but he actually said to me, how do you know that the starting point is real? How do you know that what they're telling you is what it was on for is actually the truth?
yes. And do you know what's really funny? I've had that this week where um Tesco's online, you know, click
Mm,
and collect,
yeah.
peanut butter cups, and we were buying them a couple of weeks because they were reduced
Mm,
to £2,
yeah.
whereas this week their normal price is £2. And I just thought, oh, like, you know, but it is, like you say, it's interesting, and lots of companies have been caught out with that, haven't they?
Yeah,
You're saying
absolutely.
it's in the sale, but actually when you look back, they've upped the price
Yeah, to bring it.
before they've reduced it. Yeah, and
Yeah,
it's knowing all those tricks, isn't it?
it is. And to be money smart is not just what's coming in and going out of your
No.
bank account. It's literally to be aware of how companies use tactics to get you to spend your money,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And they're really
And
clever,
there's
and they're
so
very
many things.
sophisticated, and they
Yeah,
have great teams in, and it's all about targeting you.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
definitely. Yeah, 100%.
yeah, it's interesting. So, what's been your hardest lesson so far, and what did it teach you?
Hardest lesson so
I used to
far.
say, I used to frame that question and say, what's your biggest failure? But I don't believe in failure. So I think lesson is a better word.
Yeah, definitely. My biggest lesson was probably getting into debt for the final time,
Mm.
I think. And, you know, ironically, it was the largest amount as well.
Yeah.
And that was my biggest lesson. It was almost like you know, I'm here
Yeah.
again. I can't keep doing this. I have
Yeah.
to learn something from it.
Yeah.
And so that was the biggest lesson. And actually, it was really quite amazing, because from that lesson came my business. So, you know, and after that, I got really focused,
Mm.
and decided, right, I'm gonna stop, you know, living the champagne lifestyle on a lemonade budget. And managed to, you know, save a deposit for a house,
Mm.
managed to get married, go on a honeymoon, start my own business. And when I think about what I've achieved since, I just think, oh gosh, you know, I wish I'd learned it sooner. But actually, I'm a firm believer that I think the lessons come at the right time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
And so I needed that. and
Yeah.
it was the right time, because then I was able to use what I'd learned, which has got me to where I am now. But yeah, that final chunk of debt was,
yeah, understandably, because I think ignorance is bliss to a certain degree.
Yeah.
And you can kind of say, well, I didn't know, or I wasn't aware, or the thing is, once you have the skills and the knowledge and you're still walking down the same path, then it's the shame, because you think I should know better than this.
Yeah.
What am I doing?
Yeah.
Right?
What am I doing? Yeah. And also it came to the point where I was like, well, it's no good me knowing how to clear it. I need to not get into it. And actually having my money work for me,
yeah,
you know, like,
absolutely.
you know, now being able to, you know, if I'm running a business, we've got a house and managed to go on an amazing holiday for our honeymoon, that's so much more rewarding than just spending it on frivolous crap.
Yeah, and then working simply to pay off the debt.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And it was just such an amazing shift, which is why I got, you know, I'm very excited and passionate about kind of sharing that with other people.
Yeah, absolutely. And in that sense, it almost was meant to be, because it happened for you, so then you could teach other people, right?
Yeah. Love it.
Absolutely. So if you could get in a DeLorean and travel back to your childhood, any age, I don't specify, what would you say to your younger self?
Your best is good enough.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah. Yeah,
I like that. I actually thought you were going to say the best is yet to come. I thought that's what you were going to say.
No, your best is good enough. Huge perfectionist sort of streaks, and not feeling good enough. So always trying to be better.
Yeah.
Which is very unsettling, actually, isn't it?
Yeah, because you feel like you're a people pleaser and you've got something to prove.
Yeah.
And if you're not achieving and trying your best, that somehow that affects the way that people view you and feel about you.
Yeah.
So they won't like you or love you as much if you're not perfect in some way.
And the reality is you'll never get there, because you're constantly trying to be better and better and better and better. And actually,
perfection is a myth. It's a complete myth. It doesn't exist.
No.
It's simply a matter of control. It's to feel like it comes from fear. It comes from lack of self-worth, lack of self-esteem. And so you try to control your environment by reaching for this level that doesn't exist.
Yeah. And that's what I would tell my younger self.
Yeah, I like that. It's a good message, I think, for a lot of people, because I don't think it's not just children that suffer from that. I think there are a lot of adults that could need to hear that.
Well, yeah, because it continues. It doesn't it? It continues into adulthood.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So what are your goals and aspirations moving forward now? What's next on the journey?
Well, I am currently 20 weeks pregnant.
Shut up. I didn't know that. Congratulations.
Yeah, I've literally...
Exclusive people, exclusive.
Yeah, exclusive. I'm only just kind of sharing it now. It's been a really weird... yeah, I've kind of like been going along, and I thought, I better start like sharing it. And because of everything that's been going on, I haven't been anywhere really. I haven't been seeing anybody to go, oh, by the way. So that is my next
adventure.
Yeah, my next adventure. So between end of February, the team is growing, and so between now and then, just kind of sorting out, you know, carrying on working with people, women in my business, and build that. The next project is also a podcast.
Ooh.
Yes. And now I've said it, I have to do it.
You do. You put your flag in the sand now. It's going to happen, right? I
should do that. And then next adventure is to be a mother.
Wow. Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
It's certainly, as one mother to be mother, it's not like anything else that you have done, right? Yeah. You can't prepare yourself for this. You are going to have to dive in head first and just get on with it.
Just close your eyes and just have a go.
Yeah, basically that's what the rest of us do, and you will make mistakes and it will be an adventure, but it's a good one. It is a good one.
Yeah, but that's my next I know, so kind of maneuvering whatever maternity leave might look like.
Yeah, of course. And of course the ongoing, because I think some people can like, I can't wait for 2020 to be over. Like the 1st of January is going to bring, like, everything's going to go like back to normal, and you're like, It's not, guys. It's
No,
really
no,
not.
that's it, isn't it? Yeah. And yeah, and just yeah, like that, yeah, so that new kind of journey and adventure is coming up.
Bless you, bless you. So who or what inspires you to be your best self?
Oh, is this gonna sound okay, this is gonna sound, but me, I know that sounds
Or like
really,
that? Mm-hmm.
okay, because I got to the point where I thought I am not anybody else,
Mm.
and nobody else is me,
Yeah.
and we're all so different, and I have to kind of inspire myself
Yeah,
to keep
absolutely.
going. And I think when I look back now and I think of and I look at the things I've achieved, it inspires me to then carry on and achieve something else.
I love that. It's
Is
like
that,
when you
that's not
start
too
your
ego
no, no,
to
no, no, no. It's part of the process. I think when you start your journey, you don't have the confidence, I think, or the self-esteem to kind of know who you are really. And
yeah,
so it's quite normal to not copy, but certainly look to others and kind of be inspired by what they're doing,
mm,
right? But at some point, you have to find your own voice
yeah,
and trust that and say, well, no one can do it like you. I remember my university lecturer saying to me, there is no such thing as an original idea. And we all
yeah,
kind of went, oh. And he went, no, I
mm,
don't tell you that to make you feel bad, because what is original is you. And
yeah,
if you had 10 people all writing the same book, you get 10 different books,
yeah.
right? So you've got
Oh,
to trust yourself.
absolutely, yeah. And when I think about when I've taught and I've given a story starter,
Mm.
the same story starter, but I have 30 different stories, and it's
Yeah,
brilliant. I love that. And it was something I was very much, it wasn't really till I turned 30, and you know, I'm more secure and confident, I would say, in my 30s than I've probably ever
yeah,
been. And it is that knowing who you are and, you know, feeling secure in that.
yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
yeah, and that's been a real shift and a real change, and
Good.
so brilliant.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
You know, trying to find your confidence to be yourself and to, you know that what you have to offer to the world is of value,
yeah.
and to follow that. You know, that comes with experience and maturity, but once you find it, it's like you do have that kind of thing like, why didn't I do this years ago?
Oh, I know, absolutely. But again, it's one of those things, isn't it? You have to go on the journey, don't you?
Yeah, I know, absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. So last question, my darling.
Okie dokie.
These interviews are called the Glow interviews, and I called them that because I wanted to bring some light to the darkness and inspire people to feel better. So in that vein, what lights you up and brings you joy?
Oh, reading. I love
Mm.
reading. Oh, is it just one thing?
No, you
Oh,
can listen.
okay, right.
You
I'm
don't
allowed
need
to listen.
another hour. Just get comfy, guys.
Okay. I would, yeah, nature.
Mm.
Definitely being in nature. When I'm finding myself feeling really, oh, you
Yeah,
know, either getting out. I'm lucky because I live right by the beach, and I live near some amazing downs. So, getting out in nature always brings me joy.
yeah.
And my family, my dog,
Mm.
and yeah, and reading. Very
And peanut butter
simple.
cups.
Yeah. Oh no, they're my husband's. They're my husband. I'm not overly fussed about those actually. But yeah, those, and it's really nice because a few years ago, you know, when I was a lot younger and in the throes of my debt, it's
Mm.
interesting. I think if you'd have asked me then, my responses would have been different.
Yeah,
More
absolutely.
expensive, probably.
Well, I think at some point, yeah, you look to the material and you think it's the material that
Yeah,
makes me happy, and
yeah,
you externalize it. And
yeah,
then you start to realize what's actually important. And like you say, 2020, as well as getting off a hamster wheel, also has made us appreciate what actually, like you said, is important and who is important, right?
my dog's just barking, so I just
All
want my
right,
dog
he's
makes
agreeing
my
with you. It's fine.
no, he is, and he is, and I found that with 2020, and a lot of friends have found the same,
Mm.
that it's made us reconsider what makes us happy.
Yeah,
which I
definitely,
think
definitely.
yeah, which is good.
Well, listen, guys, Kat is an amazing woman. She knows the stuff. As you heard, she's lived it. She knows how to help you if you're struggling financially or you want to get money smart and be more empowered with your money. There's no better to work with, honestly.
Thank you.
I'll leave her stuff down here. Go and check her out.
Yes,
But
yes,
thank you, Kat.
thank you so much
Yeah,
for having
definitely.
me.
Thank you so much. It's been a great conversation.
Yeah.
And to everyone watching, thank you very, very much for watching. And I shall see you next time.
Take
Lots
care.
of love. Bye.
Bye.
And